Hello and welcome to my training Zoom room. Today I want to talk about using a pivot table to count how many things you have. Now I have a couple of ways to be able to count how many people like each color. I can count by hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Nobody wants to do that. I could copy, paste the values and remove the duplicates and do a count if statement that says equals count if this range contains this value and fill it down. What I'm going to do instead is use a pivot table. So I'm in my data set. I'm going to tell it insert pivot table. I'm going to keep this on the same worksheet. So existing worksheet, and I'm just going to tell it which cell to be in. Now I can click on the cell or I can just type in H3. And when I click OK, bloop, there's a little pivot table structure and my field list. So in my field list, what I want to do is find out how many people like each color. So if I click on favorite color, automatically, just like that, I get a unique alphabetical list of all the colors. How do I figure out the value? Here's the trick. The rule of thumb, use the same value as the label and the value. So taking my favorite color, I've got it once as a row and once as a value. Now, normally when I bring stuff into the values, it counts as a sum, right? But blue plus blue is not a darker blue. Microsoft Excel sees that as two different blues. It will count text. So as I bring this in, I see the unique values, and then it counts for me 1, 2, 3. How awesome is that? Now, if I want my most popular color at the top, if I right-click on one of the numbers, I can tell it to sort largest to smallest, and just like that, it will rearrange my pivot table to put the most popular colors at the top. Let's clear the pivot table. I'm going to click on the favorite color button or checkbox, and it clears it out. What I'd like to know is their correlation between preferred hand and heroes. How many people like Batman who are left-handed? How many people like Batman who are right-handed? That's the idea. Heroes and hands. Now, when you're building a pivot table, it's a good idea to think portrait over landscape, right? So I want to do more down the side, less across the top. And it kind of depends on your data set. You may eventually end up going more landscape. But when you're in the beginning and you're not quite sure where to go, it's a good rule of thumb, just think portrait over landscape. So I want do I have more heroes or more hands? Well, there's 19 of each, right? But I have more unique heroes than I have hands. So hands are going to go into my columns. Heroes are going into my rows. Okay. Now the question comes in, what do I put in the middle? Well, honestly, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to take this and copy just so you can see. For this first one, I'm going to put the hero into the values. And for the second one, I'm going to put the handed into the values. And notice it doesn't matter, I get the exact same numbers. Because if I'm left-handed and I like Batman, I like Batman and I'm left-handed, right? It doesn't matter which way I count them, I'm going to get the same answers. But as a general rule of thumb, I would have done it this first way. Whatever I've put in my row, that's what I add as my counted value. And right now, since I have data for all of this, it wouldn't matter which field. I could have put degree or colors into the middle if I wanted. But if I was missing data, it might make a difference. So it's a good idea, right? Just whatever you put in the row title, also put it into the values as a count, right? If I was putting in my fund codes, it might try to sum the funds, and we would just come in again to the value field settings, and we would tell it to count. So once as a label, once as a counted value, that's how you can find out how many times something is happening.